Let's be real. Just because you've collected a few more birthdays and your knees make more noise than your gun safe doesn't mean you're out of the self-defense game. In fact, I'd argue you're just hitting your tactical prime. If you've got the right revolver in your hand, now I know the struggle. Triggers feel like bricks, slides are stiff as a rusty barn door, and recoil, yeah, that'll shake your dentures loose if you're not careful. That's why today we're cutting the nonsense and diving into the top 8 revolvers that are absolutely perfect for seniors, whether you're 60 and sharp as ever, or 85 and just want something simple, safe, and rock solid by your nightstand. And hey, if you're watching this for a parent, grandparent, or anyone you love who just needs something reliable and easy to use, this list is exactly where you want to start. I've spent years testing, carrying, and yes, occasionally swearing at these guns. But these 8 beauties? These are the real deal. Let's count them down, starting from number 8. I'll be honest, when someone says Diamondback, most folks either think of snakes or cheap 9mm, but the Diamondback SDR? This thing crept up on me like a stray cat with manners and a decent trigger. Now look, the SDR isn't some glamorous, high-end masterpiece. It's more like the reliable cousin who shows up early, doesn't complain, and gets the job done without drama. It's chambered in .357 Magnum, but if you've got aging hands or wrists that don't appreciate a punch in the joint, run it with .38 Special all day. The soft rubber grip soaks up recoil like a champ, and the sights are actually decent. That alone earns points in my book. What caught me off guard was the trigger. It's light, smooth, and feels like something twice the price. At 23.9 ounces, it's got just enough weight to eat recoil without turning into a boat anchor. For a revolver that looks like it belongs in a rental case, this little workhorse surprised the hell out of me. Now flip over to the Smith Wesson Performance Center 442 and you're talking about a whole different animal. This thing is light, ridiculously light. We're talking around 15 ounces, which means you might forget it's even in your pocket until you pull it, and it roars like a lion on espresso. It's a J-Frame, hammerless, DAO only, tuned by the Performance Center, which means buttery mechanics and a carry profile smoother than a baby seal's ass. Yes, it kicks a little more due to that featherweight frame, but with standard pressure 38s, it's still manageable for most seniors. So why group these two together? Because whether you want solid budget practicality or refined lightweight elegance, both serve the same purpose: simple, snag-free, low-maintenance self-defense, tailor-made for folks who don't want to mess with fancy features or heavy frames. Sometimes the best gun is the one you can actually shoot. Both of these, absolutely shootable. All right, let's get something out of the way. Taurus has had a reputation. For years, folks treated them like the plastic cutlery of the gun world, disposable and a little sketchy. But hear me now, the modern Taurus revolvers, especially the .856 and the .605, are not the same beasts they used to be. The .856 is a 6-shooter, chambered in .38 Special, while the .605 steps it up with .357 Magnum capability. But let me tell you, for self-defense, especially for seniors, stick with .38s. Your wrist will thank you, and you'll still have more than enough punch to ruin someone's bad idea. What makes these stand out for older shooters is the grip. Taurus uses soft ergonomic rubber that doesn't squirm in sweaty palms or ache after a few rounds. The trigger pull? Surprisingly decent. Not Performance Center level, but better than you'd expect at this price point. And speaking of price, this is where Taurus really wins. For under $4, you get a solid, reliable revolver that's easy to shoot, easy to maintain, and built for real-world carry or home defense. That matters, especially if you're buying for a parent or grandparent who needs something that just works. No fluff, no fuss. Are they as sleek as a Kimber? No. Do they need to be? Also no. These are workhorse guns, blue jeans, coffee mugs. No one's framing them on the wall, but they'll be there when you need them. And at the end of the day, isn't that what really counts? For seniors who want simple firepower without a luxury price tag, Taurus has finally earned a spot at the table. Let me take you back for a second. My dad used to keep a Model 36 tucked in the glove box of his old '79 Chevy, right next to a cassette tape of Johnny Cash and a pack of peppermint gum. The Chief's Special isn't just a revolver. It's a damn piece of Americana. But don't let the nostalgia fool you. This isn't some wall hanger. The Smith Wesson Model 36 is still one of the most practical, senior-friendly carry guns ever made. It's a classic J-Frame, snub-nose, 5-shot 38. Special revolver that's about as reliable as sunrise. At just under 20 ounces, it's light enough for everyday carry but hefty enough to tame recoil, especially when loaded with standard pressure ammo. What really makes it special, especially for older shooters, is the simplicity. The grip is old-school wood or rubber, depending on the model, and it fits smaller hands like it was carved for them. The double-action trigger isn't exactly buttery, but it's consistent, and the single action, crisp enough to split a playing card. For folks who want a revolver that's low on gimmicks and high on trust, this thing delivers. You won't find rails, ports, or space-age coatings. What you get is something that's worked since Eisenhower was in office, and still does the job just fine in 2025. It's the kind of gun you hand down, not trade in. And when you're thinking about protecting yourself or someone you love, there's something damn comforting about carrying the same sidearm cops, detectives, and civilians have trusted for nearly 70 years. Old school doesn't mean outdated. Sometimes it just means proven. Have you ever met someone who doesn't say much, doesn't look flashy, but somehow owns every room they walk into? That's the Ruger SP-101 in gun form. Now, I know what you're thinking. This thing's a bit chunky for a senior-friendly revolver. And you'd be right. It tips the scales at around 25-27 ounces depending on configuration. But hear me out. That extra weight? It's a feature, not a flaw. See, the SP-101 is built like a miniature tank. Stainless steel frame, overbuilt internals, and a grip that actually helps you stay on target. For seniors who struggle with recoil, this is where the SP-101 shines. It soaks up snap and kicks better than lighter snubbies ever could. Fire 38. Special through this thing and it'll feel like a gentle thump. Even .357 Magnums are doable, though your arthritis might still file a complaint. Trigger pull out of the box? Heavy, sure. But smoothed out with use or a spring kit, it becomes perfectly manageable, even for stiff fingers. And the sights? Fixed, simple, and dead-on at defensive distances. No fiber optics, no laser light show, just old-fashioned get-it-done. It's not as sleek or compact as the J-Frame or LCR. You probably won't forget it's on your hip. But here's the thing. The SP-101 isn't here to win a beauty pageant. It's here to save your life. This is a revolver for someone who wants to shoot a lot, not just carry something light and hope for the best. It's the working man's answer to recoil, the silver hammer in a world of plastic toys. For bedside defense, glove box peace of mind, or just good old range therapy, this one earns its spot. You want old school authority with new school swagger? Let me introduce you to the Colt King Cobra Carry Dow, the kind of revolver that doesn't ask for respect. It commands it. Colt came back swinging with this one. After decades of being out of the double-action game, they pulled off something remarkable, a compact .357 Magnum revolver that actually feels good in the hand and doesn't beat you up for shooting it. It's hammerless, Dow only, and smooth as Tennessee whiskey. At about 25 ounces, it's heavy enough to keep recoil in check, but light enough for comfortable carry. The 6-round capacity? That's a big deal in the snub-nose world. You get one more boom than most of the competition. And when it comes to defensive shooting, one round can mean everything. The trigger's consistent, deliberate, and clean. It's not featherlight, but it's predictable, which is exactly what you want when adrenaline kicks in and you're not thinking straight. There's no single-action gimmick, no half-cock wizardry, just point, press, and let the king do his work. The grip is soft, full, and fills the hand better than most compact revolvers. Older shooters with arthritis or weaker grip strength will appreciate how controllable this gun is, even with plus P or mild magnum loads. Sure, it's pricier than your average snubby, but you're not paying for average. You're paying for a revolver with lineage, performance, and serious street cred. And frankly, If I had to toss one revolver into a drawer and forget about it for 10 years, hoping it'd still be ready when needed, this would be the one. The King Cobra Dow isn't flashy, it's formidable. Let's shift gears a bit, from rugged to refined, because if most snub-nose revolvers are pickup trucks, the Kimber K6 and K6s are your grandpa's restored Cadillac, smooth, polished, and ready to roll. Now, Kimber's not traditionally a revolver company, but when they entered the market, they didn't just copy the blueprint, they redrew it. The K6 is a 6-shot, 357 Magnum pocket cannon that's about as sleek and well-finished as anything you'll find under $1,000. The Day-O trigger is easily one of the best out of the box I've ever felt. Silky, short, and surprisingly light for a factory snubby. For senior shooters, that trigger alone makes the gun worth a serious look. No stacking, no heavy wall, just a smooth pull from start to bang. And the grip? Contoured, confident, and actually built for human hands. It's like Kimber asked a retired sheriff to design it. If the full-size K6 is a bit much, the K6x lightens the load, coming in at just under 16 ounces and chambered in .38 special only, which is perfect for older hands that don't want to deal with Magnum recoil. Still carries 6 rounds, still has that sweet trigger, and still looks sharp enough to wear with a suit. Now sure, it's a little fancy. Some folks say it's a snob's snub. But honestly, if having a revolver that works and looks like it belongs in a Bond film is wrong, I don't want to be right. The Kimber K6 series is proof that functionality doesn't have to come wrapped in dull black plastic. Sometimes the best tools are also the best looking ones. And trust me, this one turns heads and hits center mass. All right, time to talk about a little polymer devil that punches way above its weight class, the Ruger LCR. Now I know looks aren't everything, but let's be honest. This thing kinda looks like a prop from a sci-fi movie. It's all rounded edges, matte black polymer, and that oddly futuristic cylinder cut. But once you shoot it, you stop caring what it looks like, because it works. So damn well. The Ruger LCR is one of the easiest double-action triggers you'll find on a revolver, especially in this weight class. It's smooth, consistent, and, I say this with love, soft enough for a grandma to run like a pro. That's not shade. That's a compliment. We're talking 13.5 to 17 ounces, depending on caliber. That's pocket carry territory. It comes in everything from .22 LR to .357 Magnum. But for older hands, I recommend sticking to .38 Special or the brilliant .327 Federal Magnum if you want less recoil with more capacity. The grip is rubberized and ergonomic, hugging your palm without feeling like a chew toy. The recoil, surprisingly, is manageable, even in the featherweight frame, thanks to smart design and excellent balance. And here's the kicker. This is one of the few revolvers that feels like it was built specifically for people who don't want to fight their gun. Seniors, arthritis sufferers, folks with reduced hand strength. This thing's made for you. Some guns demand technique. The LCR demands very little. Just pull, point, press, and let it do what it does best. Lightweight, low maintenance, lethal when it matters. This one nearly took the #1 spot. And here we are, the crown jewel, the top dog, the senior citizen's best friend that's not wearing orthopedic shoes, the legendary Smith Wesson J-Frame. If you've ever walked into a gun store, you've seen one of these. Hell, you've probably held one, even if you didn't know what it was called. The 642, 442, 432. Ultimate carry. They're all part of this rock-solid little dynasty. 5 shots, hammerless or bobbed hammer. Dow simplicity, no frills, no snag points, no drama. Why is it #1? Because it just works. For everybody. But especially for older shooters who want something they can grab, aim, and fire without thinking, tweaking, or worrying. At around 15-16 ounces, it disappears in a pocket or purse. The airweight frame means it's a dream to carry. Though yes, it'll kick a little more than heavier revolvers, but loaded with a soft .38 Special, or better yet, .32 H&R Magnum in the 432 UC. It's not bad at all. Manageable, predictable, senior-friendly. The trigger isn't the lightest out there, but it's reliable and consistent. And once you've fired it a few dozen times, the action smooths out like a good pair of boots. It's a revolver that ages with you, no pun intended. The grip, especially on the 432 Ultimate Carry, is redesigned to reduce felt recoil and help you maintain a firm, confident hold, even with tired or swollen fingers. And look, this isn't just my opinion. You talk to any concealed carry instructor, law enforcement vet, or old-school gun writer, they'll all tell you the same thing. If you want a revolver that's light, safe, and dead simple, the J-Frame is the gold standard. It's not fancy, it's not tactical, but for senior self-defense, it's absolutely perfect. Getting older doesn't mean getting softer. It means getting smarter, choosing gear that works with you, not against you. Every revolver we covered today has a purpose, a personality, and a place in the hands of someone who still believes their safety is worth defending. Whether you're shopping for yourself, your dad, or your badass grandma who still keeps a .38 under the knitting basket, these guns are built to serve and survive. If you enjoyed this list, drop a like, share it with someone who needs it, and let me know in the comments which one you trust most. Thanks for watching, and let's keep shooting. See you next time.